we're not even going to talk about how much more expensive it is to do like a new layout. New layout's a little bit more of a tricky deal, and I wouldn't advise anybody who's just getting started to get into it. And that's one of the things we go deep into within the course. But maybe, Chris, we could talk a little bit about that. Like, there's a huge not huge, but there's a price discrepancy between, restriping and new layouts, right? Like, you can charge significantly more.
Yes, you can charge a whole lot more. And especially because the restripe, whenever you go to a restripe job, you know what's there. It's not a big deal. There's no issues there. I mean, it's pretty much just self-explanatory. We see what's on the ground. Now with new layouts, just like Justin said, very, very complicated. I mean, even if it's the smallest job, because you have your site plans, you have your specs. And the cool thing about the course is that out of all the training courses that have to do with striping, we are the only training course that teach you guys how to read site plans. And so a lot of times when guys are just getting started, this is one of the biggest hurdles that guys experience going into the field, is the new layout portion. Now, there may be videos on how to do new layouts, but you're going to have to know how to read site plans. And so with that, in the course, there's actually 30 minutes of training where we bring in a subject matter expert that's managed multi-million-dollar properties and projects. We bring him in, he walks us through how to read those plans, how to interpret them, and then how we can maximize on those plans to put whatever it's requesting on the ground.
So you guys definitely check it out. First link in the comment section and the description. But yeah, I mean, Chris, that was probably one of the things you struggle with most. Like, I wouldn't know how to read a site plan. So, and it's just one of those like boring topics. We never cover it on the channel because it's like, how many people are really ever going to want to know about that? So anyway, if you guys are interested, definitely check out the course. So we covered a bunch of things so far, Chris. We covered like business structures and insurance. We talked about equipment, the best paint and where to get it, and how much to charge. And like I said, I'll link below to the pricing video that we put together for you guys. But how can people actually practice this service? Can you talk through maybe like your first experience offering it, and were you able to practice it all, or what does that look like?
Well, my very first job that I had was a new layout. Okay, so got my equipment, and then I have a friend of mine that goes to another church in the area, and he asked me if I'd be willing to go and stripe their parking lot. It was a new layout. I had never done a new layout before, and so I was really nervous, and I had not even practiced at all that much. I mean, I might have ran water through my machine for a few hours the week before. And so you run water through it to kind of practice spraying the line and getting a hang of the machine. But literally practiced one weekend and then went out and striped a new layout the next weekend. And we taped the lines. I mean, we popped our center line, but then we taped 4-inch wide lines with duct tape. And then we practiced that way. And they were right in the middle of a missions conference. So it was like one of those things where we couldn't afford to mess up. I mean, there was no coming back later to fix it if we messed up. I mean, we had to get it right one time. And so we taped our entire line. And then that way, whenever we striped it, we pulled up the tape and it was perfect. And the customer was happy. We got the review. They paid us the money. And yeah, that was it.
So because this is one of the hardest things to do, especially like, okay, so for somebody that's thinking about investing into the business, right? Money might not be the issue, but actually like doing the job. So me and Chris have actually been doing some in-person trainings. If you guys are interested, definitely hit Chris up. And we can discuss doing that for you guys. But I think it's one of the most beneficial things is being able to put your hands on the equipment and actually like be able to roll it, see where you have to hit those, time intervals, as you said. I forgot the exact verbiage that you use, Chris, but like there's like intervals. You got to start when the line starts and you got to end when the line ends. And just the things that go wrong in between is anyway. So yeah, definitely check out Chris, if you guys are interested in getting some in-person training. But
one of the things I will say this, one of the things about the training though, is when people reach out and they want to do it. So we show them how to do it in the field. And one of the things that we let people do is understand that if you get paint somewhere where it is not supposed to go, then you will have to spend time scraping that paint up, because you have to understand and internalize the problems if you don't hit it on target, right? Because if you don't do it right, you're going to have to scrub that line up. You're going to have to scrub that paint up. You're going to have to scrub the areas up. So Yeah, I mean it can be difficult at times, but see, that's why we bring guys on in the training. We show them how to do it, but we let people make mistakes because you learn by your mistakes. If you're looking to level up and cash in on some big ticket customers, then consider checking out the How to Stripe marketing pack, where people like Garrett that got $18,000 worth of work off of what he learned from the training said, "It's all good, bro, no worries. I've already made $18K this off season in the past month from using your marketing videos. I'm more than satisfied." Or like John that made $15K from the training. He said, "I've landed over $15,000 on 2 jobs in less than a week using the marketing technique you teach in your online course. I'm waiting to hear back from 4 more potential customers who got bids. I can't believe it. By far the cheapest, easiest, and best results I've got from advertising for my company. Thanks for making the course available." Or like Jamie that landed a $34,000 school district. He said, "I'm so happy. Just got confirmed I landed a $36,000 school job. I'm so happy. 7 schools in total starting sometime next week. And right now, we're doing a discount for the marketing pack. So if you send me a text message or an email letting me know that you've seen this video and want access to the marketing pack, we can get it to you. That way you can start leveling up and landing bigger customers." All right, let's get back to the video.
Okay, but in the event, Chris, that somebody does make a mistake, like how easy is that to resolve? And then what are the things that have to take place in order to fix getting placed somewhere or getting paint where somewhere it's not supposed to go?
Right. So if it's just a minimal line, I mean, it's not, maybe you might have popped your chalk line and, it's just a centimeter mistake. I mean, that's not really that big of a deal. You can kind of take a wire brush and you can brush out the lines that aren't supposed to go there, or cut a couple drips or something like that. So for the most part, you could kind of grind it up with a wire brush. But if you make a big mistake, like a paint spill or something like that, then there's nothing you can do. You're going to have to let it dry. You're going to have to pressure wash it up with probably a hot temperature pressure washer and stuff like that. So as far as minimal mistakes, we let guys make minimal mistakes so they can internalize the process of, hey, this is important. There is a process. It's got to be done right. If it's not done right, I'm going to spend hours on my hands and knees scrubbing to get this paint up. So
I see Cody in the chat. I just want to make you guys aware that Cody actually has a chemical. It's called graffiti defeaty. And we actually were on site. We were doing this job for an industrial company, and they wanted this line. They wanted a new line. And there was it wasn't the best terrain to be putting the line on, and we didn't properly pop the line before we put it down. So when the line was finished, it was crooked and it did not look good at all. And the only way to get the line up was we actually had to pressure wash it. We had to apply graffiti defeaty to it, and then we had to wait for it to dry, come out, and repaint it again. But I think that's a great learning experience, Chris, like saying that if you make a mistake, you got to fix it so that way you understand the repercussions of making that mistake. So just for anybody who knows, southeastsoftwash.com, check out graffiti defeaty. It's definitely will come in handy for you if you ever make a parking lot striping mistake. One of the things I don't think anybody notices, because we chop these out of the video, is that when you have a paint clog and the line stops, sometimes you'll get splatters on either side of the line, right? And so Chris, are you able to fix those whenever those type of issues do arise? Because I mean, that's completely out of your control. It's not like you meant to get a paint clog.
Yeah. One of the things and that is true, that's why I like to use solvent paint, because with solvent paint, you could just spray and then turn your tip guard or turn around your spray tip and then pump the trigger a couple times. And then you can kind of get those clogs out of there. But that solvent paint, man, I'm telling you what, it just runs smooth. You don't have to strain it, so it minimizes the potential risk of clogs. And so when you use solvent-borne paint, that's like an issue that you really don't have to deal with that often because you don't have to strain it. And so
there you go. That's a little tidbit right there. That's some good knowledge for you guys, because the last thing you want is to have paint splatters in a parking lot, man. It just does not look very professional. Okay, so Chris, we covered a lot. We've already talked about, if somebody wants to get into the business, how they can get that first experience. Obviously, you were under an extreme amount of pressure for your first job, a new layout, and it had to be perfect.